Hi, I'm Mary Pohl with Sales Mastery Magazine, and we're here today talking with Jason Forrest of the Forrest Performance Group. And we're discussing what your real metric is that you should use to measure your sales success. It's not attaining your quota, it's actually how you accelerate your X Factor sales.
I think that's great that you're talking about that and that you're talking about this concept because so often if you were to actually ask a salesperson, how do you know that you're effective? How do you know that you're effective? The first thing they would say is, well, because I'm making my quota or because I'm hitting a certain result. I'm selling, I'm making a result. But I think we all know that sometimes you can get a result, but actually not be very effective. We define at Forrest Performance Group, there are two types of sales. There's a market sale, which means it just happened. Okay, it just happened. You're in the right place, right time. You had the lowest price, lowest, best circumstance, whatever it was, or even what's called an X Factor sale. And an X Factor sale is a sale that you create. Sale that you create. And so first thing the salesperson has to do, and we tell people this is one of the greatest gifts that we will ever give a sales team, is where they can actually have discernment. They can actually have objective reality and actually see a sale as either a sale they created or a sale they just counted. So it's either an X Factor sale or a market sale. Most human beings live in what's called delusional thinking. I mean, they have no idea. They would literally give credit and say, I got that sale, but it was a market sale. Or so what I want to do, we want to do is liberate our salespeople where they truly know. Because if you know when you actually earned the sale versus you were just the right place, right time, and that'll change everything for you. Because then once you do that, then you can actually figure out, okay, how do I make that more effective? Then you can actually figure out what's the blocking and tackling, what's the process, what's the presentation that I can use in order to speed up the sales cycle because I did that. But most of the time, though, we give things way too much meaning, and we say I did that, but we really didn't do that. And so, one, I think get your mind right with really figuring out is it an X Factor sale or a market sale. Now, one of the ways that you know that is if there's conflict. If there's conflict. Now, I love that you said the word challenging earlier. But one of the things that I look for is there conflict in a sale? Meaning if there is some objection moment, then the salesperson had to overcome that, not by lowering their price, because you're not solving an objection if you just lower your price. You lose when you do that. So if the customer gave you an objection and you were able to hold the line, handle the objection, get them to compromise and move them forward, then that's an X Factor moment that would lead to an X Factor sale. If there was no conflict whatsoever in the sale and therefore no compromise, then that was a market sale. So the first thing is get your mind right, be able to decide and have discernment of, is this a sale that I really created or is this a sale that it was kind of just given to me? So first get your psychology right. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the second thing is that—
And really that helps me understand your success that you mentioned at the beginning of our talk because you started when the recession was down, so every one of your sales was an X Factor sale. You had to create it because they had no budget.
That's correct. And one of the things that we are doing with our program called Leadership Selling is we're bringing back the pride, purpose, and respect to professional sales. Most sales trainers are actually horrible salespeople. And I know this sounds really, really brutal, and I'm apologizing for getting a bunch of hate mail right now, but I'm a big fan of an assessment called SPQ Gold, which measures the reluctances of salespeople. It's one of our best assessment that we use. And if you were to measure most sales trainers out there, they have high levels of yielding tendencies or role rejection. They're actually afraid of conflict. They avoid conflict, and they describe themselves as, hey, I'm not a sales professional, I'm a sales counselor. I'm not a sales professional, I'm an advisor, I'm a facilitator, I'm a realtor. It's horrible. You've got to liberate yourself. You need to be so incredibly proud of your profession that you revere it. I mean, I love one of the things my dad would say is I don't want you to be the president of the United States because the president is controlled by someone else. I want you to be a top 1% sales professional because you're in control of your destiny. You know, the last person to ever get fired in a company is the owner of a company. The second to last person is the top salesperson. I mean, that's the most recession-proof profession a person could ever have. But so many sales trainers have really messed things up because they teach what I call this soft selling approach or this relationship selling approach, that the most important thing to do in a sale is to make a friend. And I'm telling you, I have destroyed so many competitors when they're trying to build this long-term friend-based relationship, and then my team will swoop in and we'll give them courage. We'll give them certainty. We'll challenge their philosophies on what they're looking for. We'll bring in some conflict. We'll handle their concerns. And they choose us because we're their advisor. I don't like my doctor. I'm not going to go have friends. I'm not going to go have lunch with my accountant, but they're the best in the business.
Yeah.
And they give me advice. They get in my face. They do it in a respectful manner, but they do that. And so the big thing that a lot of people mess up on is they have to measure what they mean by effectiveness. And so to me, effectiveness as a sales pro is not the results anymore. Effectiveness is how fast you got a person to buy compared to when they were planning on buying. So what I mean by that is the customer comes in and says, for example, we just did like this huge training event for the largest furniture company, largest furniture mattress retail store in all of the state of Michigan. And it was so much fun. We had such a blast with them. And one of the biggest problems they have in retail is the customer comes in and says, what? We're just looking.
Yeah.
And so if you've been trained by a relationship salesperson and you think that your philosophy of selling is to help people, well, a customer comes in and says, we're just looking, and they meet a salesperson who believes their role is to help people. Well, they look at it and go, oh, well, you're not asking for my help. So my psychology says I don't need to do anything here.
Mm-hmm.
Their psychology is wrong. And so we teach people that when a person comes in and says they're just looking, it just means that they're not exactly sure what they need to improve their life yet.
Right.
And so you can either let them wander around the store, this retail store, and try to figure it out on their own, or you have 5 years of experience, they have 0 experience, and you can start educating them. You can start solving their problems. You can start taking the lead. You can start providing certainty to improve their life. And if you can do these things, then of course they'll buy from you sooner than they would otherwise.
Yeah.
And so one of the simplest ways to measure how effective you are as a salesperson is very early in the process, just ask the simple question of, hey, when is this person planning on buying?
Mm-hmm.
When do they plan on making a decision? And find that out. Is it a year? Is it 2 years? Is it 6 months? Whatever it is, that's your new scorecard. If they say 2 years and you get them to buy in a year, well, you have a 12-month delta now. If they say 12 months and you get them to buy in 1 month, you have an 11-month delta. Your new score is not the result. It's how many months you shaved off, how much time you shaved off. That's the only thing that matters. If you get that right, you're going to make so much stinking money in sales. You're going to get all the results regardless of market conditions.
I like that metric to drive the competitive nature in our audience of, did I get it faster than it would have just happened on its own? So even for a market sale, if you sped it up, then you've added your X factor expertise to the deal.
That's right. But what's great about that is if you really believe that's your new metric, not the result, and that's really what you see as, that's what really an X factor is all about, then going forward, when a customer comes in and says, hey, I was referred to you and I heard about your product and I think I've already decided, I think we're going to go forward. We just have a couple of questions on what we're going to buy. And they end up making that decision on the first visit or the first conversation or the first, over the phone, whatever it is. Then you look at that and you go, you know what, that was great. I'm going to clearly spend the money. I'm going to clearly enjoy the sale, but I didn't fulfill my purpose that day.
Right.
That's not that I wasn't hired to just take a transaction.
Yeah.
And you should look at that and go, yeah, that's great, but I didn't really earn my keep today. I was just at the right place, right time, because I didn't speed up the process. They were already there.
Mm-hmm.
And think about how different that is. If you just make that one mind shift, I promise you that would double your income in 12 months.
To find experts on any business selling topic, go to salesmasterymag.com and connect to be your best.